11-3, solving equations with variables on both sides. Now, we've been doing a lot of solving equations, but this is the first time we've had one that has an x on both sides. Okay, so remember when we first started solving equations and we wanted to get minus 8 out of the way and moved, so we did plus 8. We're sort of going to do the same thing. Only this time what we need is for the variables to be on the same side. We need this x and this x all to be together on one side. So we're going to move this one. And the way we're going to move it is by the opposite. This is plus 8x. So we're going to say minus 8x to both sides. That's the first step. Now, 3x minus 8x is negative 5x. Okay, we still have a minus 8, so we just bring that down. And those cancel, so that's 7. Now, there's something you know how to do. So it's not very hard, it's just adding an extra step, getting the x's together. So let's keep going. Next we'd say plus 8, that's 15. And those cancel, so that's negative 5x equals 15. Okay, I'm going to scoot over here and do a second column because I'm running out of room. So negative 5x equals 15. We would go divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5, x equals negative 3, and that would be our answer. Now, I'm going to erase the screen and then we'll do the checking. Okay. Now we're going to check. Remember, we got x equals negative 3 when we did the problem. So we're going to put negative 3 in every place where there's an x. There's 2 spots. So 3 times negative 3 minus 8 equals 7 plus 8 times negative 3. Okay? 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Okay. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. Okay. So negative 9 minus 8 is negative 17. Remember, that can be plus a negative. Okay. And 7 plus negative 24 is also negative 17. Now, this is the problem where checking becomes really important because you just don't have something on one side. Always before we've had like equals 9 or equals 7 or something, just one number over here, and we knew what this side needed to come out to be. Now, you don't know what either side really comes out at the end. You got to work down this side and work down this side to actually check to see if your answer's right. So the checking gets extremely important on these problems. Okay, let's try another one. This one has a variable on both sides. So the first thing we want to do is get the variable on the same side. So I'm going to do minus 3a. How come? Because isn't 3a positive and minus 3a would make it be 0? So I do minus 3a to both sides. And that's going to be negative 1a plus 3 equals 0. It's okay to have 0 on that side. Sometimes that bothers you guys when it comes up to be 0. It kind of freaks you out. It's perfectly fine. Now, we do minus 3, minus 3. We get negative 1a, because those cancel, equals 0 minus 3, negative 3. Now next, divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, a equals 3. Okay, remember we got 3 for a, so let's check and see if that's really right. Okay, so we're going to put 3 in for a. 2 times 3 plus 3 equals 3 times 3. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 equals 9. That checks beautifully. Okay, it's your turn. Practice this one. Be sure to put a 1 in front of that plain X so it doesn't mess you up. Okay, here it is, all worked out. See if yours looks like mine. If you're a little confused, try to look through this and see what you did wrong. Get yours all fixed, and then turn off the video and get your check correct, and we'll see the check on the next page when you turn it back on. Okay, here's the check for that last problem. Hope yours looks like mine. Now, when you get two variables, one on each side, a couple of weird things occur. This is the first weird thing. It's called no solution. You're going to have some problems that don't have any solution, that nothing will work in, okay? Now, there's not very many of them. For instance, on page 596, there's 2 no solution problems. So don't start to go, oh, I'm having trouble with this one, it must be no solution. No. There's only a couple usually, and they're pretty easy to recognize. Okay? Now, if I work this problem, the first thing I'm going to do is get my variables on the same side. So, I'm going to go minus 5t minus 5t. Well, look what happens. On both sides, the 5t's cancel out. The variable disappears. And on this side, you have negative 5, and on this side, you have 7. Does negative 5 ever equal 7? Of course not. So that means you stop right there, and your answer is no solution. There's no solution to this problem. That means it doesn't matter what I put in for t. If I put 1 in, I'm still going to get something crazy like negative 5 equals 7, or 9 equals 6, or something that makes no sense. All right, now there's a way you can tell at the beginning it's a no solution problem, okay? Here's how. Look, same variable on both sides, but different numbers. So the minute I subtract 5t, that's going to be gone, that's going to be gone, negative 5 equals 7. So if you see the same variable and different constants, you know that's probably going to be a no solution. And to make sure it is, you can just work it out, just like I did. You don't have to finish the work. There's no more work to do. There's no checking to do. There's no solution. Now, remember I said there were 2 weird things in this? Here's the second weird thing. This one is called all real numbers. There are some problems that you can put every single number in for the variable and it works every time. So that means every number is a solution, okay? Whoops, I forgot my parentheses. Okay, that's an 11. Now, this one's weird too because the distributive property showed up in this problem. Remember the distributive property? So go ahead and distribute. Remember, distributing is multiplying. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 11 is plus 33. Now, as soon as I work that, some of you are going, wait, both sides of the problem look the same. Yeah, they're identical. Both sides of the problem are identical. Once you see absolutely perfectly matched up identical sides, you stop and you say, oh, all real numbers. That's your answer. All real numbers. Now, there are some math books that will call this identity. So you need to know that. All real numbers, identity mean the same thing. Our book just calls it all real numbers because every number works for this. Look, if you put 1 in for x, 6 times 1 plus 33 equals 6 times 1 plus 33. That would be 6 plus 33, that's 39, equals 39. What if you put 2 in? 2 times 6 is 12, plus 33 is 45. 6 times 2 is 12. See, it's identical. That's 45 too. Every number in the world works when you put it in place of this x because this side is identical to this side. So when you see that, you stop. Now, the book likes to try to disguise them. So see how they used the distributive property up here to disguise that that was really 6x plus 33 on that side? Pretty cool, huh? Now, remember, not many problems like this. Like on page 596, there's only one problem that the answer is all real numbers. Now, this problem right here has everything. It's got fractions we have to get rid of. It's got variables on both sides. It's got things that need simplified. So, let me kind of give you a list of what you should do first in a problem. The first thing you should do is simplify or get rid of fractions. So we're going to put those on the same step. Sometimes it's easier to simplify something and then multiply to get rid of the fraction. Sometimes it's easier to multiply to get rid of the fraction and then simplify. You just kind of have to decide. But my brain is looking at this problem going, oh my goodness, there's a lot there. So let's see if I can simplify first. Because I'm looking right here and I'm going, wait, 3D minus 4D, I could simplify that side. Remember, when you're simplifying, you're only looking at one side of the problem at a time. So 3D minus 4D, well, that's negative 1D. So let me put that. Negative 1D plus 7. It's already getting simpler. See, that's simpler? And then on this side, we've still got 5/12 plus 11D over 12 minus 3. Now, at this point, I need to get rid of the fractions. So I'm going to multiply everything by 12. Well, when I multiply this by 12, okay, the 12s are going to cancel, and I'm going to get 5. That's pretty easy. When I multiply this by 12, the 12s are going to cancel, and I'm going to get 11D. I like that so far. So plus 11D. When I multiply 3 by 12, I just get 36. That's easy. So minus 36. Then I'm going to multiply this by 12. So I'm going to get negative 12D. Then I'm going to multiply this by 12. 7 times 12 is 84. So that's going to give me plus 84. Now, whenever I get rid of the fractions and it's a really complicated problem, I'm always going to go back and I'm always going to look at the sides again and say, is there anything on this side that could be simplified? Is there anything on this side that could be simplified? This side can't get any more simple. But this side has some things that could go together. The 5 and the negative 36. Those could go together. That's negative 31. Then you've still got the 11D. And that is negative 12D plus 84 still on this side. Now, number 2. Got to take care of the variables. Get them together on one side. So, going to do plus 12D plus 12D. That is going to give me negative 31 plus 23D equals, that cancels, this is 84. Okay, now I'm going to change screens so that we can get to the rest of this problem. Okay, now we're going to do step 3, which is we're going to take the plain number, the constant that's on the x side or the d side, if you will, and get it moved. So we're going to do plus 31 plus 31. That's going to leave 23D on this side, and it's going to leave 115 on this side. Now, we're going to divide by 23. Okay, 115, oh, that's my next step, is divide. It's almost always divide. Every now and then it's multiply if it's one of those ones that's already dividing. Divide or multiply. Okay, so I'm going to divide. I'm going to put 115 in the box, 23 out here. I'm going to try 5. The reason I'm going to try 5 is because 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11. That's what it is. So D equals 5. Whew, done. This list is important. If you will go in this order every time, it will help you to understand what to do next. Okay, here's your video homework. Now, I'm going to tell you something up front on this, okay? One of these problems works out completely from start to finish, and the answer is 4. One of these problems, the answer is no solution. And one of these problems, the answer is all real numbers. So you got to figure out which is which. And the one that works out completely, you've got to solve, check, and show all work. Have a nice evening. See you tomorrow.